reality, my mentality. Everything changes so rapidly, and I'm ready for the never-ending fire. Dancing with my deepest dark desires. Miracles, how empirical. Don't know anything quite as hysterical. Everything around me transpires as I fulfill my darkest desire.
Yo, what's up guys, Ample7 here, and today I'm bringing the video, and in this video I'm going to be going over part 2 of the details I found in the fourth closet. This is going to go from number 16 to 30, and yeah, let's not waste any more time, let's just get into it. I think it's actually true, but it's mostly just funny. So, a while ago, MatPat did a video on the strength of Fredbear's jaw, and he calculated that Freddy's face is about 32 centimeters wide. So I did the math, and I figured out Freddy's height. And I actually made a community post and a Reddit post about this, but I'll just tell you. His height is 5 Freddy face widths, almost. In total, it would probably be about 150 centimeters because the last one doesn't reach the bottom completely. So Freddy is about 150 centimeters tall. And that's, that means Freddy is 5 feet tall. 1.5 meters. Let me give you some context of how short that is. I am between like 5'10", maybe 6 feet tall. I think I'm like 5'10", 5'11", or something like that. So yeah, I'm pretty tall, and Freddy is almost a foot shorter than me. Can any of you believe that? MatPat once theorized that the Twisted animatronics were the Funtime animatronics because they were much larger than the ones at Freddy's, but I always thought Freddy and Foxy are like my height. Freddy's animatronics are much bigger than the Funtimes, but oh boy, was I wrong. In all seriousness, Freddy's most likely not this short, but based on the math, he technically should be, and that's just really funny to me. Why am I bringing this up here? Well, because I wanted to. Number 17. Charlie says that she hates mirrors. This could be a reference to the end of this location when Michael looks in the mirror, and here it's, this Charlie here is Baby, controlling, or, well, not really controlling her body, but this is Baby, right? And Baby is Ennard, and Ennard goes into Michael's body, and that's why he looks in the mirror, so it definitely seems like a connection. Number 18. When Charlie is unconscious, she can hear and feel things in the real world, and we first know this when she is in the box. This could connect back to the post-Night 6 minigame of FNAF 4 where Crying Child is about to die, and if Crying Child really is in the box, this could mean the entire post-Night 6 minigame is all taking place inside the box, which is kind of hinted at in FNAF 4 since the last thing we see, which we see after beating the night right after that minigame, is the box, as if we just zoomed out a bit. You could disagree though, I don't know, it's all just an idea, but I think it actually makes a lot of sense. Well, it's FNAF, so can it really make much sense? But anyway, number 19. Charlie is kinda limp when she wakes up. This reminds me of the advice we're given on night 3 of FNAF 1, and it also reminds me of Baby in Sister Location night 5, and also Golden Freddy, pretty much always. Except in FNAF AR, because they can't even get that right. Number 20. At one point, Charlie stands really close to Jessica. So close that she could be breathing on her, but Charlie isn't breathing, which is an interesting detail to include. But like, she is a robot, so it does make sense, because robots don't usually breathe, but the nightmares do, so I just thought I'd mention this because it's kind of interesting. Number 21. The first sentence of Chapter 8 is "I can't see," which is an altered text line in the logbook, as well as how Andrew in the Stitch Wraith stories can't see. Number 22. Something I've been wondering for kind of a while has been whether Baby's really opened or if the opening was cancelled. Based on the minigame from Sister Location and Baby's story, it seemed that it did open, but there's also how Elizabeth died in this book and the cancelled due to leaks teaser. I think it's more likely that it opened and then closed, but that means Elizabeth's death in this book is distinctly different from her death in the games, and I kind of wonder why. Number 23. When William appears, he is out of the Springtrap suit. His bones are visible and he's missing parts. At the end of the book, he burns. People have been assuming that the Fazbear Fright stories are their own separate universe, but what if they are in this novel universe? The Man in Room 1280 could be a continuation of this story. The only real problem I see with this is Susie having different hair color and coming home. And also one other thing, kind of forgot what it was, but like, yeah. But a lot of other evidence does seem to point to it. Oh yeah, and also the fact that Susie was set free at the end of Coming Home, but like Chica's still possessed in this book, or in these books. But there's a lot of other evidence that kind of seems to point to it. Number 24. One more thing I should say about William is that he's bald. If you remember, Stanley in Room for One More had been hired by a strange little bald man. Could it be that Room for One More happened shortly before this book, and that it took place before William lost the ability to walk? Probably not. In fact, I'm probably wrong about all of this, but it's actually kind of fun to think about. Number 25. Before William enters the room, he shows something with illusion discs where it appears Springtrap is singing and dancing to mock Jessica, but then he stops and falls to the ground as if he'd had another springlock failure or something. Is it just me, or does this remind anybody else of Kelsey's death as we later see in The New Kid? He dances around and then has a springlock failure, basically killing him, but it's unclear what happens to him. And there's also the FNAF 3 minigames when Springtrap, or William inside the Spring Bonnie suit is like dancing and laughing. He's just like, ha ha ha, you can't reach me now, suckers. And then he has a Springlock failure. Okay, so number 26. Spirits can possess animatronics themselves if they die in close proximity to them. In other words, they don't need the puppet. So what is the point of the puppet, and what does give life mean? Well, I think it's just to show that the puppet can, and that's how it's possible to get external spirits possessing animatronics when they didn't die in close proximity. The remnant is infused into the fun times. The spirits didn't die around them. If Crying Child is indeed Golden Freddy, it was Puppet who put him in the suit, which is why he could possess it. It is also confirmed by the Stitch Race stories that animatronics can switch their host bodies. So that means, as MatPat thought could be the case, William is the Fredbear plushie. Then, the puppet's spirit moved into its soul so it could help Crying Child find his way into Golden Freddy, and then possibly they possessed it together until Crying Child found Golden Freddy and Charlie found her way back to the puppet. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Number 27. Afton told Baby to keep an eye on Jessica, and Baby responds, I have many eyes on her. This seems to have been glossed over, but what if it has more meaning than we thought? What if Baby has Remnant inside her, and not just Elizabeth? Or better yet, another spirit. Now, I have a lot of explaining here to do here, so grab some popcorn. This is a theory that I've had for kind of a while, but I'll talk about it right now. We know the Fun Times are infused with Remnant from the Missing Children's incident, and William probably got the Remnant in the FNAF 3 minigames. But if you pay attention, William only destroys 4 animatronics. He doesn't destroy Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy contains the soul of Cassidy and Crying Child, seemingly. But Crying Child is there. Like, there's a 5th spirit there, and it doesn't seem like this is, Cassidy, because I feel like she would have just attached to him right then and there and not just stand there and watch him get spring-locked. At least maybe she'd be laughing or something like that, but, Crying Child's spirit was never combined with the other missing kids into Remnant, so his soul could be possessing one of the other Funtime animatronics by himself rather than as Remnant like the other 3. But it's also possible that his Remnant that he is part of Remnant, but his spirit is more prominent than the others in one specific animatronic. I'll talk about this in one of the later parts, probably part 4, because I had some thoughts about that after I finished reading the book, and yeah, stay tuned for part 3 and 4, because then I'll explain a little bit better with how this could work then. Either way, the only other Funtime animatronic with their own spirit inside, rather than Remnant, is Baby. The spirit being Crying Child's sister, Elizabeth Afton. But on night 5, when Baby is broken down, she's in the exact same pose as Golden Freddy is in all of his appearances, excluding FNAF AR. But on night 5, sorry, that I already said that. But not only that, when you're in the private room, Baby, with Elizabeth's voice and her own voice, talk to you. One of Elizabeth's lines is, I know it was an accident. This could be referring to her death, but like, why would she be saying this to Michael? Keep in mind that this isn't specifically Elizabeth's spirit saying this. It's Ennard using Funtime Foxy's voice mimic to mimic Elizabeth's voice. So why would she be saying this to Michael? Michael had nothing to do with Elizabeth's death. You could say that she thinks Michael is William, but then why would she be saying that to him? I mean, he was the one that was trying to keep her from dying. So what if this is actually the crying child's spirit saying this? Saying he knows his death was an accident and had finally forgiven him. This theory would actually depend on quite a lot of things. It would depend whether Cislocation is before or after FNAF 1. If it's before FNAF 1, this can't be true, because Crying Child has to torture Michael for killing him sometime after FNAF 1. So yeah, it can't be true in that case. But if Cislocation is after FNAF 1, then FNAF 4 could have been before Cislocation and after FNAF 1, and then Crying Child could have realized at some point that his death was an accident. Or Michael going to the Cislocation location, that's what made Crying Child forgive him, because he's trying to fix everything for himself. Or for all of his mistakes. He's trying to continue fixing things, or whatever, stuff. But, maybe Michael could have redeemed himself in some way, like I just said, if he goes to Cislocation, or if Cislocation is before FNAF 2, this theory wouldn't really work in that case, but if it did, if it were to work in that case, then it could have been him going to FNAF 3. Another thing is that the Remnant combining situation would also rely on Cislocation being after FNAF 1, because if the spirits are split, then this theory doesn't work as well. But yeah, anyways, that's my theory. Is this an okay theory, or am I feeding you a BS sandwich? Could go either way. But anyways, let's just move on, because we still have quite a bit to cover. Not really for this video, only 3 more points. But yeah. Number 28. Baby here somehow has experience with being like a doctor for William. Like fixing him, she uses a scalpel and tries to save his life or whatever, with a surgical experience somehow. And this is weird, but if the novel trilogy really is in the Fazbear Frights universe, then it would actually really explain why in To Be Beautiful, Sarah's organs are sliced off neatly in a surgical manner. Number 29. I don't see very many people talking about how William feels about Elizabeth in this book, except that William abuses Elizabeth, but nothing else. If you really think about this book and other evidence, it's not that he doesn't care about her, it's just that she disappoints him, and according to Elizabeth, he likes Baby better. He's too invested into his work, so that he doesn't spend enough time with his kids, and he grows more attached to the robots than his kids. He still does care about them, but only to a certain extent. Except Mike. He hates Mike's guts and just used him to save Elizabeth because, he's expendable since he killed his own brother. People say William doesn't care about his family, but I really don't think that's true. I think his feelings toward his family are best explained during Bunny Call, and also the beginning of He Told Me Everything. It's like how Chris loves his family, but he just wants better lives for them. Perhaps William's wife died, and that drove William to search for immortality, so him and his family wouldn't have to deal with that tragedy again. But then Crying Child and Elizabeth were killed, and William hated Michael for killing Crying Child. And I'm guessing after Elizabeth dies, he starts being really rude, and then his rude behavior or something, maybe that gets him kicked, fired from Freddy's or something like that. Maybe he has to take a break or something like that, and he wants to get revenge on Henry. And then after Crying Child dies, then he goes even more insane, and then kills the 5 children. Think about this, because I think he starts thinking less about helping his family and only about himself, and that's how his true goals were lost. Think about this, because I think it makes sense. Number 30, the final one for this video. William has been getting Baby to remove his organs and replace them with Remnant. I guess a lot of people assume this means Remnant is how he survived the Springlock failure. But no. Previously in the book series, William survived 2 Springlock failures, and those are before and those are supposed to kill you. Surprising enough that he survived 1, but 2. This is before he even had Remnant, before Remnant even existed. So there's only one other explanation for this: the vengeful spirit. In the Man in Room 1280, Andrew is keeping William alive when he should not be. Could it be that Cassidy does the same thing in the games, and that it's not Remnant that keeps him alive? Obviously, we know that Cassidy does this in Ultimate Custom Night, but what if she was doing it much earlier than that? From the FNAF 3 minigames and onward. What if when he was trapped in the safe room for 30 years, William was experiencing Ultimate Custom Night the entire time, and then after FNAF 6, he was unable to move on his own. He was unable to move on his own anymore, so he wasn't able to escape it until, well, his body explodes. Thanks guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like on the video, and if you like my other videos, please do consider subscribing. And yeah, still 2 more parts to this, and then after that I'll probably do Fetch. Tomorrow I'm gonna be releasing a video on another Minecraft mod, a superhero mod, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and yeah, see you guys in the next video. Impo7 out. Peace.